The programming on Metro TV does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Metro Council, the mayor, or Metro government staff.
Welcome to another installment of Leadership Landscape TV, where we go inside the minds of local community leaders and allow them a chance to offer some keen insights into how they see themselves and, most importantly, explore just what makes them tick. I'm Kurt Jacobs, host of Leadership Landscape TV, where previous interviews have showcased leaders from the world of politics, religion, business, sports, law, community activism, and civic engagement. Today, our 168th guest is John Varanese. He's chef and restaurateur of Varanese, River House, and Levy restaurants. Now, for those of you who don't know our guest, allow me to read some of his bio. John obtained his BA in Food Service Management and AS in Culinary Arts from Johnson & Wales University in South Carolina, while he was kitchen manager for 3 years at Magnolia's, a Southern cuisine landmark, where he refined his skills and participated in a creative and financially successful environment. It was soon evident he had quickly set himself apart from other chefs after displaying his accomplished understanding of business finance. While working at Magnolia's, he showcased his great ability to control costs while producing very high quality cuisine using only fresh local ingredients. The next great challenge in his culinary prowess came in 1998 when Azalea, a Louisville restaurant, offered him to be executive chef, where he developed his own management style, personality, and culinary flair. After 3 years at Azalea, Varanese was ready to begin plans for his own restaurant, spending the next 4 years as executive chef at the Cardinal Club. While planning his own restaurant in 2007, he left Azalea to open Varanese at 2106 Frankfort Avenue in the historic Clifton neighborhood. It did open in August of 2007 to rave reviews with an eclectic menu of new American cuisine, comfortably seating 150 between its bar, dining room, and Four Seasons patio. The patio has a dramatic 20-foot slate water wall enclosed by a serpentine of glass doors, which retract to offer an outdoor dining experience. On August 20th, 2008, to mark Varanese's 1-year anniversary, yours truly helped John by cutting the ribbon at his establishment. It was a beautiful night. Varanese is a great place for a date. Today, John is known for his culinary creativity as well as dedication to local farmers who provide fresh local products in many of his signature dishes. He is even a star and co-producer of his own TV show, Big World of Food, educating viewers on the importance of local farms to the food on their tables. He has won numerous awards and represented Kentucky's Department of Aquaculture 3 years in a row at the Great American Seafood Cook-Off in New Orleans. He was one of only 16 chefs in Kentucky to be invited to prepare a special dinner with James Beard chefs from around the U.S. at the World Equestrian Games in October of 2010. In 2012, he was invited to cook at the prestigious James Beard House in New York City. He serves on the Kentucky Restaurant Association's Board of Directors and was president of KRA's Louisville chapter. John has been honored as one of the country's top culinary talents in the premier edition of Best Chefs America and named Restaurateur of the Year by the Kentucky Restaurant Association. In August of 2015, Chef Varanese announced his second restaurant, River House, part of a 27,000 square foot complex to open in early 2016, located at 3015 River Road. It will be Louisville's premier riverfront dining destination and will represent the realization of Chef Varanese's ultimate dream of opening a Louisville riverfront dining option. Trust me, I know. The very first day I met John in 2004, he talked to me about this topic when I used to work in economic development. Now, not wanting just one kitchen to focus on all of the River House, which could diminish consistency of product, in October of 2015, not to be outdone, not like he has anything else to do, Varanese announced a second restaurant called the Levy at River House, offering live entertainment vibes and a unique cuisine by offering folks a completely different menu than River House. John and his wife, Gina, a nurse at Baptist East, reside in Louisville. John, it is a true pleasure to have you on Leadership Landscape TV. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, most chefs, and nothing against chefs, I can't cook anything more than a scrambled egg or a pancake. You know, most chefs, that's what they focus on, is the back of the house, the food element. But when I first met you, I saw a unique person in the fact that you had both skill sets. You had the creativity to create unique signature dishes, but then at the same time, you had a desire to own, and I could tell you could understand finance on that first meeting. So all that is to ask you, what drives you to do what you do? And the intensity that it takes physically to run not one, but now ultimately 3 restaurants.
It is. For me, a little bit it's the creativity. I get an opportunity to create food. I get to create an atmosphere and good service. So
Okay.
it's always different, and it's never the same day twice. So it's always a challenge.
Sure.
So for me, that's kind of what I appreciate. That I get, I kind of call my kitchen my own playground, and to manage it as a business and bring it all together, and to create that experience for the guest
Sure.
is kind of what keeps me coming back. And what makes this career different from others is that I get a chance of the instant gratification. So right then and there,
Yeah.
people appreciate what you're offering them.
Right. Now, whom do you credit most influential in your life, John? It could be more than one, personal or professional. And is there any chefs in your family history? I'm curious.
No, my grandmother cooked. She kind of did a lot of things for catering for her church, and my dad happened to be a butcher, worked for a meat vendor in Cleveland, Ohio. For me, at least, the person that influenced me most as a child was Dino DeFranco.
Okay.
He happened to be my first boss, and offered me a job at barely age 14.
Really?
And a couple years later, a couple weeks later, he had me cooking. A couple years later, I was running his kitchen.
Wow.
So he took me under his arm, was kind of a great mentor.
Now, where was that?
Father figure in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, that's great.
And taught me from scratch cooking, taught me hard work and dedication of what it took to be a good chef and a good business owner.
What was the most defining moment of your life, John? It can be more than one, again, personal or professional.
I kind of think it brings back to Dino again. It was about time I was a sophomore in high school and needed to start making decisions of what I was going to do with my career. And I felt, for me personally, I always had a goal that I knew I wanted to be financially independent. And it was at that time that I felt like that I had extra experience, a head start from going to school, and that would be my best path of reaching my goals.
What do you consider to be your biggest professional triumph, John? Again, it could be more than one. It can be personal as well.
Probably opening the River House and the Levee. This is something I set out for in 2001. And in 2006, I just was kind of spinning my wheels, wasn't able to pull the finance together to
Right.
Open up the riverfront location. And I found a great spot on Frankfurt Avenue, and definitely a little bit of a downsized dream, but I always had that riverfront property in the back of my head, and I set out for it. Again, 3.5 years. It's taken me this long to get to where I am today, and we're finally under construction.
But I think one could argue the success you had at Varanese made people believe in the ability of River House's success.
No,
So
it definitely, it was a good stepping stone, and you kind of see that hindsight.
Yeah,
a
of
little
course.
bit.
Yeah. What is the best piece of advice ever given to you, John? And again, it could be more than one, personal or professional. And maybe who gave it to you?
I don't know who gave it to me. It was just kind of a saying that, and I always kind of take this on many different levels in my business, is that you have to feed the cow to milk the cow. And,
Gotcha.
To the business aspect is that you can't keep on taking from it. You got to feed the business. You got to reinvent yourself. You got to remodel. You got to keep up with paint and touch up and just the facade of it to keep the business going. It also goes to relates to your employees. You can't always just take from them. That you got to
Right.
give back to them, and that you got to create a good environment. So, and it's, I guess, kind of the give and take thing. And then in the community, patrons come and spend money with me,
Sure.
help me be successful, but then I need to give back, and I think
Right.
I do that very well. Give back to the community and charities, and
You do.
that's kind of my philosophy on that. So.
Now, this show's called Leadership Landscape TV for a reason. So the obvious question we ask all of our guests is, can you define leadership in one word in the great English lexicon, as I always like to tell our guests, ask our guests?
To be, I think, a great leader, you have to demand respect.
Yeah.
Or earn respect on both. So I think the word respect would be.
I think that goes a long way in the back of the house, when the patrons don't see what's going on and it's crazy and you're trying to get 50, 60 tables covered. Respect is probably the paramount thing.
Yes, it is.
If someone asked you, what is the single most positive thing you've done for humanity in your life, what would you tell them it's one of those 30,000-foot questions. You know, you can interpret it any way you like.
You know, again, I think it's more of in my career and who I am. I want to be a positive and productive person in society, and also, you know, be a part of the community that I live in. And, you know, I think that kind of goes back to giving back to that community, and that's kind of where I like to be seen.
If you could change one thing in your own life or in general, what might that be? You know, if you had a magic wand, you know, there was no limitation to your wish, what would you do?
You know, kind of really thinking outside the box from 10,000 feet is, and I don't know if it's more of a generic answer, but world peace. You know, if everything worked together.
Right, harmoniously.
Thank you.
Right, yes.
You know, everything else would be a lot easier in life. It'd be easier to run businesses. It'd be easier to build teams. It'd be easier for growth and everything else. So, you know, when everything's working together, I think that's the most important thing.
Now, you had talked about respect as your leadership word a moment ago. So this is what I call the mouthful question for all our guests. Can you describe in particular detail an incident or scenario where you utilized your own philosophy on leadership? It can be respect, or it can be another example.
No, and I think respect is important, and it's number one, you have to earn your respect from your employees by showing that you have knowledge of the skills and the leadership and the ability to do their job. But it's also going back to giving the respect to your employees. And when you do that, you know, you show, you build loyalty. And based on loyalty, then you could build teams and build structure. And I'm still doing that today, and building teams, and I need to do that to even expand to other restaurants. Of course,
so. With 3 restaurants, team would probably be the operative word, tagged with respect. Quick question, you don't have to name names. Have you ever had an employee, or obviously a patron, but because maybe they didn't like the food or whatever, but an employee that was disrespectful, that you could see a pattern fairly quickly? How did you address disrespect? I'm going to kind of take your psyche that way for a minute.
You know, usually when I confront that, I'll pull them aside and start to have a conversation of, you know, this is the way things are, this is the way it looks at. And I have a big philosophy is, you know, I'm going to treat you how you treat me, and I want to treat others how I want to be treated. And, you know, that's always been my philosophy. And I believe that I treat people well, so I kind of demand that respect back, going back to that same question.
If someone asked you, what does John M. Varanese stand for, what would you tell them? Not how they may perceive you, which is respectful or disrespectful, since it's our word today. How would you see it? You
know, I'd like to be looking at it as the person that had the opportunity of the American dream. You know, I grew up with my necessities, but if I wanted something, I had to go and get it. And at a young age, I set those goals. And today I'm still going after it, and I'm still achieving it. And, you know, if there's something that you want out there, you could have it. You just have to discipline yourself day after day after day. And I'm still doing that today to even get further where I want to be.
Now, you know, we've seen in the last several years, especially since you opened your first restaurant or when you got into business, this burgeoning, and we've got some pictures later of, you know, chef cook-offs and chef shows, and chefs have really become celebrities. You know, back when we were growing up, we're fairly close in age, you know, it was Julia Childs maybe on PBS, you know, public broadcasting. How has that changed the leadership of chefs in the kitchen? How has that changed the approach to the industry? Do you see a lot of, and I don't mean this with disrespect, do you see a lot of Johnny-come-latelys that, you know, think this is going to be a cool, hip thing to do, and they flame out, pardon the pun, or do you see really more dedicated, passionate young people getting into the industry?
No, I kind of think you hit the nail on the head on the front end of it, and
really?
Especially in my career. I see it in multiple different careers, but especially in my career, that being a chef has become glorified more than it has in the past. And a lot of people want to be that TV star right away. Or you get these people out of college that want my job in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, for the way that you looked at the way culinary kitchens ran in the past, it's that you got to put in your time and you got to hone your skills. You don't become a great chef overnight. You know, I always say, too, if a chef ever thinks that they know it all, they're behind the ball because you're continuing learning. There's continuing new stuff to learn, and I think young culinary people really have to realize that it takes time to really dedicate in your profession and really hone your skills on multiple different levels. And to become a chef, it's not all about cooking.
Right.
It's the management.
There's
It's
some
understanding the financials.
Human psychology.
Yes,
is a huge part of it, I would think. A huge
big
part
time.
of it. A big part of it.
So there's multiple different layers of being successful, and even more layers to becoming a restaurateur when you have to go outside the kitchen, the front of the house, and everything else that you have to manage, and the marketing and the PR and just guest relations. And
now, we've got several pictures here, if you don't mind grabbing them.
Sure.
I'll hold on to these. We'll start with the top one there, and you just kind of hold it up as a reference for yourself. So that's your first logo, I assume.
Yes, it is. It was kind of unique about this is that the building I took over was the Red Lounge, and the only thing they really had to identify themselves was this red neon strip.
Right, and it was an old gas station, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
wasn't
it was.
It had garage doors. And,
yeah, it was built as a golf station in 1955. Somebody converted it and made it a lounge there for a little while. And it had its heydays, but it was still not fully refined.
Right.
And then we added on another 1,400 square feet, and it's become a beautiful place.
It's beautiful. Spent many a Valentine night there. So, and turn on the backside, and then I'll take. Oh, that's us.
Oh, yes, it is.
That was your 1 year anniversary.
Yes,
I put that
is.
in there. It was a great night to celebrate this very successful first year, if I recall.
Yes, it
2007 to 08. And I'll take them as you go.
And especially in a trying time is kind of when.
Oh yeah, it was. The dawn of the recession was starting to kick in. I thought about that, when we put everything together. So yeah. So what's this next one?
This was just me taking a portrait for
I love that picture.
One of the magazines, and
even
in the background, I've done some remodeling since. So even those color schemes are gone a little bit. And it goes back to got to feed the cow.
Right.
Before I could keep on milking it. So I've already reinvested in my restaurant 5 years later, realizing that I could create other opportunity for revenue and to prove upon things that were overlooked or didn't have budget to do in the first place.
On the back there. That's another nice shot of you.
That's a good one because that's now after the remodel.
There you go.
And
cool.
Again, this was kind of a publicity shot of the new area and expanding the bar area.
So I think that's your
nice
summer night. It looks like.
Yeah, the lovely Four Seasons patio
I love it.
where the wall retracts back, and it's just a great look and a great feel. And again, this was kind of a pre-remodel. There's some things in there that I could notice that I know that have changed there. And again, this is kind of part of a private dining room that we've did in the remodel. We added this great wine case on the back, and there's a TV in there, and so people have opportunity to do presentations and business meetings during the week.
That's great.
And then again, after remodel, opening up that view to the bar. And
it's nice.
I love that look of the bar. It's really classy, and I love all the wine bottles up there, and it has a very warm feeling to it.
I've had a cocktail or two there.
And honestly, this is one of my favorites. I have this blowing up here.
Yeah, I love that photo.
And the canvas,
it'll look good
that
on
night shot, the blue and the red just really make things pop. And
it is nice.
I remember a couple times after closing the doors after a night of service and walking out and just looking at this, it's like, this is pretty cool. That's mine.
I know. With your name, by the way.
With my name.
And now we move on to the latest.
Yep, and this is the announcement of the River House. And as you can see that we've maintained our branding.
Yeah.
The V is turned blue to
thought that was cool.
Accent the river. And then here we go is the levee at the River House. So again, keeping the brand. The idea is that the River House that we're creating is going to be southern with an emphasis on seafood, and it's going to have a raw bar.
Nice.
And with the design, we're looking to New Orleans and Charleston to kind of give that.
So
influence.
you'll have a 4 a.m. close.
I don't know about that just yet.
All right,
there's some long days. We're open.
We're
open for lunch at the River House, so we're doing lunch and dinner there.
Wow.
And then the levee is going to do dinner 5 nights a week.
Right.
And I did it for that concept, it was to make it a little more casual. The menu is going to consist of like flatbreads, burgers, tacos, kind of like a little more bar food, and has some soft seating to it.
Okay.
And then around 8:30, 9 o'clock, to bring in live entertainment to feature performance. And
That's awesome.
kind of a place to have a good time. So I look at it as I created a place to dine and a place to have fun and be entertained.
Now this is the construction going on at the, tell them what that used to be, by the way.
So this was the Falls City Boat Marina, and it was built for boat storage and boat sales. The construction of this has already come pretty far along. The building was all encased in windows, and the back side we're just replacing it with the metal, and the rest of it we're redoing all the windows to keep all that great light that comes in. There will be some blue to the building with some gray accents to it.
Nice.
I have a rendered shot of that later. Here's inside. You can see the very high ceilings. In the River House seating, I have 27-foot ceilings, and we're going to bring that down. We have some very unique features in there.
That's great.
You could also see a second floor there eventually that we're going to expand to do banquet facilities. So this is the back side of it where we have the river view. We're actually punching holes in here. We're going to bring up the light a little more, and then we'll have doors that slide back and have that outdoor feel to it. So again, you know, the back side, everybody hard working away in the construction.
That's awesome, man. I'm really proud of you, man.
Thank you. And this is the inside look. And so it's a great view overlooking the river. And like I said before, some of this will be punched out to even have a more dramatic view of the river.
Wow.
And then they're closing up the side here. And
now there's the rendering.
here's kind of the rendering. So we're going to break up the blue with this hardy board. The biggest challenge, and speaking with the architect, is it's a big warehouse. And it's going to be hard to make it not look like a big warehouse.
Right.
So
so is that like a circular drive? You're going to have drop off at the front for like derby time and where it gets busy?
we're going to have valet parking.
Awesome.
And for both of it. It's such a big parking lot. And I have an agreement with Kingfish to use their overflow lot, which is a little bit of a walk away, but I think adding the valet service.
So did you just do a thing where you're not cooking any seafood? That's right next door.
Well, I told them we're not going to fry any seafood.
There you go.
There might be a couple things, but again, I'm looking things to be more elegant, having octopus, ahi tuna, monkfish.
Yeah, you can have all that you want. I'll stick to the cod. Cool.
And this is me and my beautiful wife.
Your better half, as they say.
Had an opportunity to jump the pond this year, first time in Italy.
Great.
So we spent a week in Sorrento, Naples. The rest is history.
And then your risk-taking thrill side.
Yeah, this is kind of my passion. Keeps me in shape. The first time I had an opportunity to go heli skiing, I did it the year I was getting married. I was like, if I don't do it now, I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity to do it. But I have an old college friend I went to school with and moved out there, and I've been out there every year for the past 15 years. And
that's awesome.
Unfortunately, this year is going to be the first year I don't make it out there because I have added responsibilities looking to open the River House on the levee in February.
That's great. Now, I'm going to do something that I've never done in 167 guests. I had the opportunity to do a celebrity cook-off because of this show. Somebody in home building thought I was a celebrity. Do what you want with that. And this was back in 2009. I called up my buddy John. I said, I can't cook more than scrambled eggs or pancakes. And so here we are out at the fairgrounds, and we won. We beat Councilman Glenn Stuckel. Sorry, Glenn.
I know you pride that very much.
Yes, and then here's some more pictures, the jaws of victory, or however you say it. Here's us cooking up stuff. So it was very nice of you to do that. And I'll segue back because I wanted to talk about the celebrity chef. Tell everyone what that picture's about. I think that's the seafood thing in New Orleans.
That's the Great American Seafood Cook-Off in New Orleans.
How'd you all do in that? What year was that?
This one would have been 2012.
Okay.
And we didn't win. Part of the challenge in this is that you cook with seafood that's sustainable to your state. So it's pretty big for a landlocked state to go and compete against Florida and Georgia and Alaska and North Carolina. So I thought we did really well. We had a great time. I was with Chef Jeremy Ashby from Azure in Lexington.
Okay.
And it just turned out to be even something I didn't even realize about Jeremy. He went to Johnson Wales University, and I was a couple years older. And he was trained at Magnolia's also, so knows all the same people that I cut my teeth with, that he came with, and then find that we're both here in Kentucky now,
small world,
and being a chef and restaurant tours ourselves.
That's great.
It's great camaraderie.
Now this next question, and we're going to start wrapping things up here. If you were granted 2 weeks right today, of course you're driving your own bus here, running your own ship. where would you go? What would you do, and who would you take with you? 2-week mini vacation from life.
You know, I have two great passions. One's the snow and skiing, and the other one's the beach. So the first half, I'd probably leave my wife at home and call my buddy Shane and tell him we
won't be editing this out. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, she'll understand.
Okay, okay.
But we'll probably do a week of heli skiing in Alaska. That would be great. And then I'd pick her up on the other half.
Nice.
And head somewhere in the Caribbean and soak up the sun and the summer activities and dine on some great regional cuisine.
Now, I love this next question. I think it gives great insight into your character, not only as a leader, but as a human being. If you could have dinner alone with anyone living or dead, who would it be and why?
You know, that question's been asked before, and I've never really
because
been
you're
able
a chef.
to answer at it. And, you know, thinking briefly, two people I really didn't have an opportunity to have in my life was both my grandfathers. So,
okay. That's great.
and both being that Italian heritage.
Yeah.
I think being grown up now and having those professional conversations with them would be
really cool. They'd be very proud of you, man. Now, if you could write a letter to your younger self, that 14-year-old cooking with, was it DeFranco?
Yep.
What would you tell your younger self? What might that letter say?
For me, I always kind of wanted to grow up fast.
Yeah.
And it was with business and in even finding my better half, which I didn't find until I was almost 40. So I would say in that letter is perseverance and patience, because it'll come to you as long as you work hard. And, you know, the love of your life is going to come in your life when you're ready for it. And for me, I was just always so busy trying to chase my career and line my little ducks up in a row to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And I had that focus at an early age, you know, saying 16, I'm going to own my own restaurant. So it's all about going to culinary school and getting the business education and paying attention to what everybody else did well and what they didn't do well, and how I was going to relate that back to.
And not having a real familial history with cooking on a professional level. That's what I think is the genius of you, not the passion, but the actual ability to do it is pretty remarkable. Now, this is the last question we ask all of our guests, younger or older. You don't get out of the hot seat, as I call it, the guest seat, without being asked this. You know, God forbid, you know, I hate to say it, there's a fire in the kitchen and it all ends tonight, you know. How do you want to be remembered?
I think I'd like to be remembered as a great chef that was really passionate about his career and creating experience to guests, and that somebody that was respected in his community and gave back to it.
Well, I think there's a lot of chapters ahead of you still. I think we're only in the first or second quarter, maybe.
Yeah, no, I see a lot more to come.
It's quite a pleasure and honor, actually, to have you, Chef Varanese, I'll call you, on the show. Thanks so much for being here. Quite an honor.
Thank you.
If you have any general feedback or guest suggestion, feel free to email me at kurt@leadershiplandscapetv.com. And check us out on social media. Just go to Facebook and type in Leadership Landscape TV. Until next time, I'm Kurt Jacobs. Thanks for watching.
Metro TV, a public service of Louisville Metro Government.